Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of Extra Serving, a nation's restaurant news podcast. I'm your host for the week, NRN Managing Editor Leigh Zinsmeister. Today, we're going to talk about the latest food trends with our resident food trend expert, Senior Food and Beverage Editor Bret Thorn. What's trending in beverages? Bret will talk about what's going on in not only drinks, but pizza and snacks. He will cover what's hot in the industry now and what you should be looking out for in the R&D pipeline. Then, we're going to talk about McDonald's and Krispy Kreme's latest deal. The fast food giant officially inked a deal to sell Krispy Kreme donuts in all of its stores starting in 2026. As Krispy Kreme has been shuttering its own stores, what does this mean for the donut brand? Will we see other top 10 chains begin to build out their snack offerings with partnerships as well? Let's take a moment to introduce my co-host.
Hi, I'm Senior Food and Beverage Editor Bret Thorn. Hello, Leanne.
Hello, Bret. Thanks for joining me today.
Glad to be here.
So, Bret, what is going on in food and beverage this week? I've been on the road and not paying attention at all.
Yeah, no, that happens when you're on the road. And, you know, the doors haven't been knocked down with a bunch of out-of-the-blue weirdo trends, but we did see Papa John's this week join on the Cup and Crisp pepperoni bandwagon. This is pepperoni that's a little bit thicker than your average pepperoni, and when you put it on pizza and stick it in the oven, it curls up into sort of a concave disc, sort of like a satellite dish. And it has a little bit of crunchiness on the edges, so it's a different texture. And for a while, chains have been putting this on their pizzas, sometimes with regular pizza, so you have with regular pepperoni, so you have this contrast of textures and maybe slightly different flavors, but not all that different. But it's a different textural element, and also it's something that's new without being scary. Like pepperoni is the most popular pizza topping, so to say here's more of your favorite pizza topping in a slightly different shape is a trend that it's easily approachable.
Yeah. And what is Papa John's doing with it?
So they're putting it on 3 different menu items. They're putting it on their New York style pizza, which comes in like bigger New York style slices, as they say. I, living in New York, would not say that any of Papa John's pizza is New York style, but it's their approximation, and that's fair. They're allowed to do that. And they're also putting it on their papadillas, which are their sort of foldable flatbread sandwiches, and also in their Papa Bites, which are sort of like garlic knots, but not necessarily garlic. Although their Papa Bites also do have garlic on them. And now mozzarella cheese and these Cup and Crisp pepperonis. So if that's a thing that you want to try, Papa John's has it in all the shapes.
Interesting. What else is going on in F&B this week?
Pickles. There were a couple of pickle items that were announced and to be introduced on April 1st, which immediately made me say, no, you're lying, right?
That's pretty suspicious. That's
correct.
That's pretty suspicious. What do they say they're putting these pickles on?
Okay, so BJ's Restaurants has a sort of monthly special, the Pizookie, which is a cookie served in a skillet, sort of like a deep dish pizza with ice cream and something on top. Could be, like apple compote or some sort of chocolatey thing or whatever.
Or
and
pickles?
Yes, they're putting pickle chips on it. They're calling it, it's a great name, it's the Pizzle Pizookie. And which is just fun to say.
Totally.
But I emailed them multiple times saying, really? Are you really doing this? Are you kidding me? And they're sticking with the joke if they're if they are joking. But I guess
we'll know on Monday. We'll have to follow up next week and see who was kidding and who was serious.
I think the closest BJ's to us is in Yonkers, and I don't really want to go to Yonkers to.
No, that's fair. I'm actually in Texas at the moment, and there's a
Oh,
BJ's up the road, but I'll be back in New York by Monday. So
yeah, that's not gonna work either. But it's you can't buy the Pizookie. It only is given to you free with a purchase of $14.95 worth of food. Now, if they had said it was 41.24, for example, which would be April 1st, 2024, then that would be the signal that this is a joke. But I don't know. And then Ziggy's Coffee. And again, I'm like, really? Are you joking me? They say that they're adding pickle juice to their coffee, which, like, that doesn't, and I see your look, you're like, no, this is an April Fool's joke.
But restaurants put weird things in their coffee.
Correct.
I mean, we've got Starbucks and olive oil and the butter coffees, and I don't know. What's your opinion on the pickle juice coffee?
So adding a sour element to coffee is not new at all. It is traditional in Italy to serve espresso with a little lemon peel. And it actually does enhance the flavor. I think the aromatics of the lemon and the acidity kind of balance out the bitterness that is just natural in coffee. So maybe that's what Ziggy's is doing. And it's not like pickle juice in drinks is new. Picklebacks have been a popular shot in bars for 10, 15 years. And in 2018, I'm pretty sure, Sonic came out with pickle juice slushes. And it was a summer promotion, and I was told they did well. I don't remember if they've brought them back, so,
maybe not that well. Yeah.
Right. But maybe they haven't. I just forgot about it. And it is, pickles are certainly a trendy thing. Anything kind of sour and pungent and funky, it has a rather willing audience among younger generations. They're into those kinds of flavors. And obviously, as our country becomes increasingly diverse, cultures that are more in tune with a lot of pickled flavors, such as East Asian, Southeast Asian, find these kinds of flavors more approachable. And of course, Americans like pickles. We eat pickles all the time. Like mainstream Americans, obviously, the new immigrants are Americans also. But pickles are fun, and they've been trending for quite a little while too.
Yeah.
And those were the big trends that I saw this week. But I recently wrote, and I believe discussed on this podcast, dirty sodas, which are sodas with things added to them. Technically, a soda with pickle juice in it would be a dirty soda, according to the definition.
That's true.
Because the definition trademarked by Swig is basically soda with anything else added to it. And then also, over the past few weeks, we've seen lavender being added to coffee drinks at multiple chains. Starbucks did it the most loudly, but there were some other chains that did it too. Caribou Coffee, I believe, did one. And so that apparently is the coffee additive of the spring so far.
Lavender. Lavender feels like one of those things that we've been seeing at like independent or like smaller coffee shops for a while now.
Right.
So you're saying now it's hitting the mainstream.
It sure is. And I'm looking at my notes of like what's trendy, and there's a lot of cucumber being added to drinks too. This also not super new. There have been cucumbers in cocktails a lot, often gin cocktails with some kind of citrus. It's a very refreshing thing, but obviously the most popular pickle far and away in the United States is a pickled cucumber. And I don't know if you saw something that was circulating on social media for a while, but it was all the amazing things that you can do with cucumbers. And I don't know if they were all true, because some of them were like, they're a good lubricant if you need to fix a joint or something like a hinge. I don't know about that, but they certainly people have been putting cucumbers on their eyes to smooth out wrinkles and stuff forever.
It's true.
And I've found them to be kind of a satisfying snack, oddly so. Like if I've been out drinking and normally I would come home and make popcorn or go to a diner and get a cheeseburger and stuff, if I just slice a cucumber and have it with a little salt, it does something that satisfies that craving.
Interesting.
So
Probably hydrating too. More hydrating than like a burger would be after a night out. So,
yeah, I mean cucumbers are mostly water, so
right.
that is yes is the answer to
A
your
benefit.
observation about that. Yeah. Yeah, I
Perhaps.
don't, unless you're allergic to cucumbers or hate them, I don't see any downside to eating more cucumbers. And
Yeah,
a cucumber sandwich with mayonnaise, salt, and pepper on toast, delicious.
it's
I'm a
true.
fan.
I'm pro cucumber.
Yes. Also, something coming out of uh, California that I discussed in my other podcast, In the Kitchen with Bret Thorn, is algae oil, which it is a company in the San Francisco Bay Area that is making oil from algae, just as the name implies. And so this is a sustainable, possibly regenerative product that is apparently very clean tasting and does the job of other oils without being a strain on the environment. So I support that.
Interesting. We'll have to keep an eye out for that.
Also, dry aging of fish, which we've been talking about for a
Mm-hmm.
while. I'll have a podcast coming up about that. Talking to Nick Bognar, a chef out of St. Louis, who is into dry aging fish, and it concentrates the flavor because if you're aging something, the moisture evaporates, and it makes for a smoother texture, just as if you were to dry age beef. Although you don't tend to dry age fish for like 8 weeks or anything like that. It's usually a few days or
Sure.
maybe a couple weeks. And I would not recommend that our audience do it without researching how to do it properly and safely. Don't just leave your fish lying around. And you gotta, you have to treat the fish well. You have to clean out the bloodlines or it starts to taste really funky really fast.
Great tip.
Yes.
Great tip, Bret. Um, all right. Sounds like lots of interesting, possibly delicious things coming down the pike at restaurants. Let's talk about something that I think we agree is definitely delicious, and that is Krispy Kreme donuts.
I do enjoy Krispy Kreme donuts, Leanne. They're good.
I also do, and I feel like we have enjoyed them together somewhat frequently in our office.
Yeah, Krispy
Uh,
Kreme likes to send us donuts when they launch new flavors, which they do pretty much for every holiday.
yeah, once a month or so.
Mm-hmm.
So Krispy Kreme has been working with McDonald's for a few months now, selling 3 of their most popular donuts in McDonald's stores. This test has been running in Lexington and Louisville, Kentucky for a few months. Earlier this week, the companies announced that they are expanding this program nationwide. It's a pretty slow rollout. They say by the end of 2026, you'll be able to get Krispy Kreme donuts they say at participating restaurants, but I imagine it'll be most McDonald's locations across the country. So that is very exciting news on its face. Bret, what do you think right off the bat? What were your first thoughts?
Well, I like Krispy Kreme donuts, but they are really best when they are freshly made. And, and which is why they have that sign that says when the donuts are freshly made. And so, according to the story that I believe Ron Ruggles wrote about Krispy Kreme and McDonald's teaming up in this way, the donuts will be delivered fresh daily to McDonald's. I don't think that's enough. Like my Krispy Kreme is delivered at 7 in the morning or whatever, and I'm coming in to satisfy my 2 p.m. day part craving for something sweet and maybe a coffee. That's going to be an old Krispy Kreme donut. And Krispy Kreme has come into trouble with this before. After they went public, I think in the year 2000, they expanded very quickly and they had sort of satellite stores that the commissaries would send the donuts into, and they would have other companies sell their donuts, and they expanded too fast, and they crashed and burned and had a great deal of difficulty in the years that followed. So I think maybe that's one reason why this rollout is so slow, because they're taking their time, making sure that the supply chain is in place. But then, do you really want a 6-hour-old donut, or are they going to modify how they do it, or is there some sort of, I don't know what process McDonald's might have for reheating their donuts? That sounds operationally irritating.
Yeah.
But barring that, I mean, it makes sense for McDonald's. Why not have another menu item that they can offer that would only be incremental sales? I mean, if you want a hot apple pie or a cookie, you're going to get that.
Mhm.
Uh, McDonald's soft serve machines are notoriously broken with great frequency, which bars a lot of the sweets that McDonald's offers, the McFlurries and their soft serve and so on. So, yeah, I only see it as a potential for more sales for McDonald's, which, sure, why not? And
Yeah.
could easily, I mean, they're already good at breakfast, but donuts are a great afternoon snack, as I said, so it could expand that day part as well.
It's true. Those are interesting points. Krispy Kreme has been trying to shift its business model so it has more points of access besides just Krispy Kreme restaurants. But of course, that does introduce the question of freshness. As you said, if you're getting your Krispy Kreme donut at a McDonald's or at a Walmart, I think is a place you can get boxes of Krispy Kremes now, and places like that. As you said, I'm sure they must have something in place operationally to account for that. Um, I'm also curious to watch this roll out because, so as you know, our colleague Alicia Kelso lives in Louisville, Kentucky. And I was with her when this news broke. We were both in Dallas this week. And she said, I hadn't heard her say this before, but I think it's a story she has told some people, that she and her family go to McDonald's every Saturday morning to get Krispy Kreme donuts. And that over the past however many months they've been testing this, they've only actually been able to get the donuts 2 or 3 times because the restaurant just didn't get them that day. Or I don't think they're already out, because she said they're going at like 8 in the morning. Um, and that they've tried different McDonald's around town and that they just don't always have the donuts every day. So it does sound like there are some operational and or supply chain things to fix. And I think that might be another reason for the, almost 3 year long rollout of this program. Um, but as you've said, all the questions I have are more on the Krispy Kreme side. I don't really see a big downfall for McDonald's, because even if you go to McDonald's and they don't have the donuts, like most people who are not Alicia are not going to McDonald's to get a donut. They're
Correct.
going to McDonald's for coffee or for lunch, and then they're just adding like the donuts a value add. So it'll be interesting to see that play out, and hopefully they work out those kinks. And there must be some success in the test if they're already ready to take it nationwide.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned for Alicia's son, because, like, if somebody told me when I was a kid, even now, if somebody said, we're going to go get donuts, and then there are no donuts, like,
Disappointing for a 9-year-old.
for sure, disappointing for me too. Like,
Yeah, or
do they go
anybody.
someplace else to get a donut? I mean, it's not like it's hard to find donuts, but, like, what do they do then?
I'm guessing after the first or second time they stopped saying they were going for donuts and just said they were going to McDonald's. But I don't know. That's a parenting problem, and that's not what we're here to solve.
No, we'll just have to
Especially not
ask,
you and I.
yeah, we'll have to ask Alicia offline.
Yeah, but it's another just interesting element to all of this to keep an eye on. So McDonald's and Krispy Kreme, I think I'm finally getting used to the idea of those companies working together. We've seen a little bit of some other collaborations like that. Subway is working with Auntie Anne's, I think.
Footlong cookies and things like that.
Footlong cookies, churros, pretzels,
Churros, yes.
churros, all kinds of footlong snacks. Do you think we're going to see more of these really, really, really big chains getting into snacks?
Sure. I mean, it makes sense to cross promote your brand, and they're snacks. So again, the sales are probably going to be incremental. So you're taking big name items that presumably most customers enjoy. And we're seeing this a lot with retail brands also. I mean, there are so many desserts at big chain restaurants made with Oreo products. A lot of Oreo cookies, and then also plenty of candies. There are Reese's peanut butter cups and everything, and M&Ms, bit of Chips Ahoy here and there. So, when there's already a beloved product with great brand recognition, the uh, R&D that needs to be done within the restaurants is probably minimal. I mean, they probably have to figure out ways to operationalize it and get the exact ratios right and so on. But they don't need to, or maybe they do need to go to a manufacturer and say, "Here, dump all these cookies into our stuff." I don't know how they do it. That might be a process, but certainly collaborations allow for different brands to capitalize on each other's markets and audiences, and I don't see anything wrong with that. And of course, this happens with independent restaurants too, that they'll have guest chefs, and so they're creating an event with this other chef, maybe from the same city, maybe visiting from out of town, and they get in and they create a special meal, and those dinners sell out. I don't think I've heard a time when they don't sell out. They do really well.
Interesting.
And I mean, that's a slightly different thing because you're creating a special occasion. Although a limited time offer in some ways is a special occasion. You gotta run out and
It's
get
true.
your Oreo McFlurry or whatever it is. I think there has
Yes.
an Oreo McFlurry, but I'm not positive.
It sounds familiar. It
Yeah.
sounds familiar. All right. Well, what a riveting discussion. Donuts, snacks, all kinds of menu items. Thank you so much for joining me today, Bret.
My pleasure. And I'm sorry, audience, if you guys listen to this before having eaten, because maybe we made you hungry. Or maybe not. Maybe pickle coffee doesn't make you hungry.
Yeah, we should end on pickle coffee. That's a good
Definitely.
call. All right.
Well, I
Thanks,
want to
Bret.
say one more
Oh,
time,
please.
Pizzico Pizzuki. That's
Pizzico. That is fun to say.
yeah, that's why I wanted to say it again.
Amazing. All right. Appreciate it.